I'm back, as you can tell, and a lot more spotty. This video is a comprehensive list, my comprehensive list, on why Arsenal are, have been, and always will be bigger than Tottenham shit Spurs. I actually have 3 points, and the first one was mentality. Spurs are losers. They always come second best. Their first team of losers, demonstrated by the fact that they had a 7-point lead over us, Arsenal, in March, and yet somehow still managed to finish behind us. Like, I didn't think they would fuck up this season. Given the fact that the season before, they had a 13-point lead over us, and they fucked that up too. Do you not learn from your mistakes? I think that speaks volumes that that in 2 separate seasons in a row you can fuck that massive lead up with 2 different managers. It's like, it's not the manager's fault. I mean, Harry Redknapp and AVB, 2 different managers. So clearly it is literally infused in your club that you physically cannot ever finish above Arsenal. Arsene Wenger has never finished behind Spurs. Ever. And it never will happen. Because this season, this summer, we're going to break away from you. And you are going to be left in the dark, in the relegation zone, once Bale goes to Real Madrid. And to make this whole thing even funnier, Spurs' under-21 side are also losers because they lost the under-21 Premiership final to Man United 3-2. Now, normally this would be expected, but given the fact that Spurs were 2-0 up at half-time, I think it kind of just epitomises the entire team, the entire club. Because literally, from the top to the bottom, to the under-21s to the reserves, you are losers. Always second best. It's just so funny. The second point is the Champions League. As I said 2 seasons ago, Spurs messed up a 13-point lead against Arsenal, but the light at the end of the tunnel was there because they thought they'd come 4th, which they did. And since 2005, 4th place in every season up until then was enough to get you in the Champions League. But unfortunately for Spurs, they are Spurs. So naturally, Chelsea went on to win the Champions League, thus meaning that 4th place did not actually equal a Champions League place, and Spurs not only fucked up a 13-point lead, but have failed to get in the competition that they so desperately wanted to get into. And I say desperate because the Champions League literally is an obsession for Spurs. At the beginning of the season, it is their one goal. They just want to get Champions League. With Arsenal, we get Champions League every season. It's a bare minimum. But at the end of the day, Arsenal's bare minimum is Spurs' bare maximum. 4th place is the lowest place we have ever finished under Arsene Wenger. 4th place is the highest place Spurs have ever finished. I think that fact alone just shows which club is obviously bigger. And I would feel sorry for Spurs fans if they didn't constantly... They always have something to say, as if they were even on our level. Because to use a metaphor, if Arsenal and Spurs were banks, you know what Spurs would be? A piggy bank. Arsenal would probably be Goldman Sachs, one of the big boys. And finally, the third and final point, probably the most important point actually, trophies. As much as Spurs fans want to give us crap for not winning a trophy in the last 8 years, have you looked at your own cabinet? 2 trophies in the last 20 years. In that space of time, I've been born, gone to school, got my GCSEs, got my A-levels, AS levels, got 11,000 subscribers, 4 million views, and made a video on why Spurs have basically done F-all in that period. It's a long time. It's not even like those 2 trophies are any good, they're both Carling Cups. The worst of all the major English trophies. And if you look at the ratio, that's bloody awful. I mean, that's a trophy every 10 years, and that trophy is a Carling Cup. In that space of time, Arsenal have won the league 3 times, FA Cup 5 times, won the Carling Cup once, won 2 doubles, stolen your prized asset in Sol Campbell, then proceeded to win the league on your ground with your former captain. And this is just recent history. If you look at the grand scale and the total history of the 2 teams, Arsenal have over 6-tuple the amount of league trophies you do. What does that mean? That means we've had a better history because we have 6-tuple your trophies, league titles. It means you have a better present because you haven't finished above us in 18 years. Since I've been born, you've never finished above us. And it also means you have a better future because we are in Champions League and I believe we will break away this summer. We will break away from you. While you're stuck with the other Europa League teams fighting for scraps, players that the really good teams don't want, for the first time ever, we will actually be able to buy big. And I think that's testament to Arsene Wenger, the fact that up until now, we have never actually bought big, but yet we've never had a team where we haven't had one of the best players in the world. This season we've had Cazorla, last season we had Van Persie, season before Fabregas, season before... I can't remember the season before. But we've always had world-class players, never having bought a player above £15 million. Even Aston Villa bought Darren Bent for above £15 million, and look where they are now. So imagine if Arsenal actually had that money. Like, I mean, it would be invested pretty good. But anyways, that's my reasons as to why Arsenal are bigger than Spurs. Shout out to Marley Baker on Facebook. He seems like a cool guy. He messaged me asking for a shout out on my Facebook page. And so here it is. It really is that simple. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever. Everything's at Yan the Black Man. Like this video if you like it. Share it on Twitter if you got sexually aroused. And favourite it if you can do 12 push-ups. By the way, if you're wondering why I haven't done videos in so long, it's because my bloody shit laptop broke. I spilled a little bit of water on it, just the tiniest bit. Like, I have no idea. I still to this day do not know how it broke from that. When somebody randomly gives me like £500 for whatever reason, then maybe I will get it repaired.